Hello children. Welcome to my classroom. Today we're going to be thinking about formas y colores, shapes and colors. And there are lots and lots of different colors out there and lots of different shapes. So everything you see has a color and a shape. But we're going to be focusing on leaves. And you might think, but Miss Nash, they're all green. And most of them are green right now. And some of them have similar shapes. But there's actually a lot of different things that you can start noticing about leaves. So if I ask you to take a crayon or a pencil and draw me a leaf on a piece of paper, you might draw something like that. And that's a good shape for a leaf. And then if I ask you to color it, it might look like that. And most of them are green right now. But fall is coming. And soon, pretty soon, that leaf might change. It might be yellow. Or it might be orange. It might be red. And it will fall off the tree and then it'll be brown. And then the tree won't have any leaves at all. But it won't be dead. Just waiting for spring. In the spring, new leaves will grow. And those new leaves will be green again, but they're going to be at first a very different green, a bright spring green. So the same tree can have different colors of leaves in a single year. And that's an interesting thing to start noticing. So when you go for a walk in the park or around the school, you can start looking at find a tree that you like especially and start taking observation, watch, notice. And see what changes you can observe throughout the year. And that way you can be a plant scientist. And the great thing about being a plant scientist is that plants can't run away. So if I go out to look at a tree, it'll be there today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 100 years from now. And I can study the same tree. So I went out for a walk in my garden this morning and I found a plant I think was giving me an early Valentine. This big heart shape. Isn't that a nice shape? Dark green on the front and a kind of lighter green on the underside. And it's soft and kind of fuzzy. It has an interesting texture. And it even smells good. It's called hoja santa. And you can use it for cooking. I walked on and I found another heart. There are lots of hearts up there. This is from a red bud, a little tree, and you'll find these all over in the parks and all around the school. And somebody else liked this one too. Do you see the holes in that leaf? You see all the holes in it? Who do you think made those holes? I think it was that very hungry caterpillar, don't you? I found more hearts, a little heart. So lots of heart-shaped leaves out there. That's not the only shape. Here's one that has an interesting color and shape. This one right here. It's called angel wing. Because somebody thought that the shape reminded them of an angel wing. And it's kind of gray, blue, it's shiny, and has dark green lines in it. Those green lines are called veins. Now we have veins in our body too. The blue lines are called veins. Do you know what's in them? In our veins is blood. Does that mean that if a leaf has veins, does it have blood? Well, no. It has a liquid though, like blood is a liquid. But the liquid in the leaf is a combination of the water that's sucked up by the roots and the sugar that the leaf makes. It's called sap. And the veins are really interesting to look at and start noticing patterns that they make. And you can observe them with your hand lens. And you take your hand lens and you look and you see the veins get smaller and smaller. They branch out and they go to all the parts of the leaf. Right? It's an interesting thing to observe with your hand lens. Here's one that's a nice color in shape, kind of an egg shape. And it's kind of yellow around the edges and green down the middle. It's kind of thick and leathery when I feel it. And that helps this plant survive without too much water. Here's another one. It's really thick. This one is called the Jade Tree. And this, you see how thick those are, and they're stiff. I try to bend that one, it'll break off. I broke that one off. And you can really see how thick and fat that is. It's really unusual in a leaf. And again, this helps it keep from drying out. It can live without much water. Here's an interesting shape that needs extra water. Here's one like a feather, like the feather Mr. Store showed you. Only this one didn't come from a bird. This one came from this fern. And it's very thin. In fact, it's kind of wilted already, just from this morning. And this kind of plant needs extra water. We don't find them out when we go for a walk in our post-up preserve out here. You can have them in your garden or in the house, but they need more water. Those thin leaves dry out really quickly. Sometimes a leaf will be different on the top and the bottom. The color will be different. And this one is all shiny green on top. And then when I look at the underside, it's kind of dull and almost white. And if I feel it, it also feels different. Okay? And again, I can use my hand lens to see why. Why does it feel different? I can see tiny hairs on that underside. And that, again, helps keep it from drying out. That's one of the problems that plants have in Texas is not enough water. Here's another one that's really interesting to look at. And it's really fuzzy and kind of silvery. And then underneath, it's purple, okay, and really fuzzy. And again, that helps it keep from drying out. Here's a cousin of that one. It's not fuzzy, but it's also purple, really purple. The whole thing is purple. See how purple? A purple leaf. Another purple leaf somewhere here. There's another purple one. It's kind of frilly around the edges. Isn't that pretty? A really interesting shape. Okay. All that edging. Some leaves are gray, or blue gray. And again, that's something that helps them survive hot sun and not much water. Here's a long, skinny one. This is from a grass. And an interesting thing about the grass is that it's sharp. The edges are sharp. You can cut yourself on it sometimes. That protects it. If a rabbit wants to eat it, the rabbit's going to go, ow, ow, ow. Here's a long fat one that somebody took a bite out of also. And the interesting thing about this one, you can see the veins are all straight lines on this one. Isn't that interesting? So some plants have veins that are in straight lines. Others, they branch off. So another tool you can use besides is drawing. So you can take a crayon and a piece of paper and fold the paper over, put a leaf inside, and you can make a rubbing. And you rub all on the outside of the paper until you get a picture like that. And you can also put the leaf down, just flat on the paper, and trace around it. And that way you can see the shape of that leaf. And then you can compare them. Here's another one I've traced around. So you can start making a collection of different shapes of leaves. And there's so many different shapes out there. You can do rubbings and tracings. Start being a plant scientist and studying your leaves. So next time you go for a walk, I want you to see if you can find some different shapes out there. See how many different shapes you can find. And see if you can find a heart.